let's discuss how some of these political parties, such as the Democrats and Republicans, but we're going to focus on the Democrats in this video, and some of their policies and legislation and ideologies have kind of created a generations, and also this feeling of, well, I don't really have to work for anything. It should be given to me. I only want handouts. I don't want responsibility. I don't want to be accountable. I don't want to get up and do it on my own. And mind you, it isn't just the Democrats. Republicans also have some very shady, problematic, full of shit ass ideologies in legislations that they've introduced. But this video, we're gonna focus on the Democrats. Cheers. Cheers. The reason why I'm doing this is because when we're talking about the government shutdown with the food stamps, EBT, Section 8, welfare, government assistance, you name it, okay? Health insurance, health care, Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, education, everything, you know? Now, this is probably going to be a long video, or be a video that I'm going to have to probably put in different parts, like part 2, part 3, part 4, and so forth. Because this is one of those videos where you really it's a complex situation. Okay, Psych perspectives. It's a complex situation. There are varying perspectives, sides to the story, to the ideologies, to the beliefs, to the legislations. There's some good, there's some bad, there's some ugly. You know, there's some positives, there's some negatives, and that's just how life, me personally, in my opinion, that's just how life is. Life is about balance. It's about balance. You're not going to always get what you want, what you need, what you like. At the same time, things aren't always going to be bad either, you know? Let's get into the Democrats. First of all, in theory, Psych perspectives, in theory, food stamps made sense, you know? Welfare makes sense in theory. And what I mean by that is, in theory, of course, we want to be able to take care of people who can't take care of themselves, or who need assistance, who need help, who need an extra push. Okay? We can spot you for a minute until you get back on your feet, all right? Until you're able to do on your own, we can spot you. Because that's basically, in theory, what it's about. It's about helping folks who are in need. And that's fine, that's okay, that's good, right? It makes us feel good that we're able to help others when they're in need. Or we're just able to help others just because. You know, it makes us feel good. But is it sustainable? Is it the right thing to do all the time? That's what the real question is. So when you have the Democrats coming up under the New Deal Democrats with Franklin Delano Roosevelt, FDR, arguably one of the best presidents this country has ever had. And mind you, he got elected 3 times, okay? And of course, he died in office on his 3rd term, but it's because of him that they got rid of that. You can't just, because then you end up creating basically a dictatorship. You no longer really have much of a representation. And then also the powers that be, you know, they need new blood, right? They need new blood to cycle through every 4 to 8 years. They can't deal with someone being there too long, right? Because then all the shadiness would fall down. Then we'll start seeing for our own eyes. Call it a conspiracy. But anyways, yeah. This is really telling, right? So because of the Great Depression and people who literally lost their incomes, their houses, farms, lands, lives, food, everything was just scarcity, you know? Scarcity. It was just horrible. And because of that, and then originally welfare was, you know, for white women, and also for women, particularly white women, who were widows. Their husbands were no longer theirs. And the thought at the time, and the thought still, is that, well, the man should be taking care of the family. He should be bringing home the bacon. He should be making the money and working to provide and support the family. That's, as much as we're saying we're pushing to equity and equality, that's still pretty much what most people think. Even folks that are, oh, equality, feminism, even those people think to a certain extent, some of them think at least, yeah, he should be doing more. Okay, and that's fine. It doesn't make you any less for equality. It doesn't make you any less bad. But my thing is, stop being fucking hypocrites. You don't always have to be right. You don't always have to be wrong. You don't always have to be all the way over here or all the way over there. It's a balance. Anyways, so you have that. We want to help you until you get your feet wet, until you're able to meet another man, marry, you know, someone's going to take care of you eventually. But nobody really thought. Maybe some did. Maybe some did. But I don't think initially the plan for government assistance under the Democrats with the New Deal Democrats with FDR, okay, might as well say 1930s till about 1968 was that New Deal. So you can really, about 1933 to 1968 was the New Deal Dems, right? Delegation, right? So it took us through, right? So anyways, I don't think nobody initially thought that you were going to be on government assistance for the rest of your life and that other generations were going to also pick up on being on government assistance. No one thought that the mother, the daughter, and the granddaughter would all be, you know, no one thought this would be lasting as long. No one thought it was going to be forever. But too much of anything is a problem. Again, balance. Gotta go without times to know what you really need. Gotta be unhappy. Gotta be sad to really know what true happiness is so you don't take it for granted. It's all about balance, in my personal opinion. You look at this and you sit back and you realize, like, damn, okay. Next thing you know, you've got all of these ethnic minorities and black people, right? And notice I say ethnic minorities and black people because in my opinion, black people are treated differently than any other group. That's just my opinion. And then like when I say ethnic minorities, I'm really speaking about white people who were considered minorities during that time. Back in the day, if you were Italian, you weren't white. If you were Irish, you weren't white. You know, let's be honest, if you were Spanish from Spain, you weren't white. If you were Jewish, you weren't white. That still kind of holds up. So that's what I mean by ethnic minorities, because you had black people then, and you had ethnic minorities who are now considered white. Like Chaldeans are considered white. Italians are considered white. Jewish people are considered white. It's just funny, like Northern Africa, people who come from Northern Africa and, you know, Arabs, they're considered white. You know, Hispanic and Latinos, depending on what area you're from, even then, for the most part, you're considered white. So those who I would call ethnic minorities, because there was a time when you weren't, right? So back 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 years ago, you were an ethnic minority, okay? But you still had more of a push-up than what the black people have. Again, in my opinion, not much has really changed certain things. And then also all change isn't good. Just gonna be real. Okay, but anyways, the Democrats. So then you got more ethnic minorities, you got more black people, you got more women, you got more kids. This is literally weighing down the welfare system. Like, because at the end of the day, it wasn't really, in my opinion, I don't think it was ever meant to carry people for long periods of time. And we're talking about at least 1933. It's now 2019. It's almost been 100 years. So being honest, I don't think this welfare system, at least the way it was created, was ever really meant to carry everybody. Yet the Democrats keep pushing this welfare approach to everything. It isn't just about food stamps anymore. It's not just about food. Now it's the education system. Now it's the healthcare system. And it's social issue system. It's everything. Now again, in theory, it makes sense. We can help those who need help. We can help those just because. We can give you an extra push until you can get back settled. In theory, it makes sense. But in lived reality, it doesn't, there's no logic for it. In a sense that in lived reality, you cannot carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. One system. Maybe we need to add Psych perspectives. Maybe we need to add additional systems to help welfare systems work. Or maybe we need to face reality, Psych perspectives. It was never meant for everybody to be together floating. We're not the same. We are individuals. We are unique to our creator. Maybe some people have to die. Maybe some people have to starve. Maybe some people have to suffer. Others to live lavishly and be greedy and eat all the food and have all the good and wealth. Who knows? But again, in my humble opinion, it's all about balance. Sometimes we can hold you and carry the weight. Other times we can't. Sooner or later, it's gonna go up, it's gonna go down, and people are gonna be falling off it's bits and pieces, So it's one of those things where it's a hard pill to swallow. Because when you look at the food stamp situation with the Dems, the Democrats have really, in my opinion, have created this need for handouts. Everybody has their hands out. And then they have taken away people's confidence and self-esteem and self-worth, because now it's like, shit, you don't even recognize your own capabilities and skills and talents. You don't even utilize your own skills and talents and brain power to go and be a successful, productive member of society. Now it's, there's food stamps, we can sign up for that, we don't make enough money. Instead of finding ways to have a side hustle to make additional funds, going to get another job. But perspectives, on the flip side, people are already working 2 and 3 jobs and they still are unable to make ends meet, or they're struggling even with 3 incomes. And on the flip side, some of these people, it's like, well shit, what did you expect? You have 3 fucking kids, okay? You got 3 kids that have to eat, and then you gotta eat. And then if you have a partner, they gotta eat. So what the fuck did you really expect? Sometimes it's like, we know life can be hard, life can be difficult. We have examples left and right. And a lot of us have lived through these difficulties, these trials and tribulations left and right. Yet we still decide to make asinine, boneheaded decisions. Like having kids that we can't take care of, and we know it's hard to take care of because a lot of us came from single parent homes and we literally watched our parental figure, whether it was predominantly the woman, the mother, the granny, the aunt, the sister, and sometimes it was the father, the brother, the uncle, but it was one parent struggling all the time. And you were probably subjected to the struggle because it was your parent and that was your living situation. But you would think with many of us going through this shit, we would know, like, I don't want that. When I get older, let me make a different choice. Instead, I would argue many of us don't, and we end up making the same bonehead decisions or something similar. But then on the other, psych perspectives, on the other side, you are what you grow up in to a certain extent. Yeah, you can unlearn shit, but a lot of us we are not taking the time, the energy, and the discipline to unlearn problematic stuff. So a lot of us are just going to keep going with the flow. So you got the Democrats throwing out, crumbs. This is the funny thing about the Democrats. They throw out crumbs. They decorate the crumbs in these beautiful bags. They're so colorful, they're so pretty, and they talk the crumbs up like it's something major. But when you actually see it, once you, out the matrix and you take the red pill, no, really, once you start seeing for what it is, you start realizing this is bullshit. These are crumbs turned up to be something amazing when they're not. And that's really what Democrats have been doing I would say what the Democrats have been doing really well for the last 50 years. Really the last 60 years, 1959, let's go there. The last 60 years at least. Have they just been throwing shit that it looks great for a moment, but then you wake up and you realize you just got dealt a really bad hand. But that's what the Democrats do. And Republicans do it too. They both do it. It's about dividing and conquering. And then also, while we're all sitting here angry and upset and disillusioned and blah, 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 while some of us are happy and fulfilled and loved and supported and living a great life and very chipper, and then the very small percentage of us up here somewhere is really living it up. Really living it up. And then another probably larger percent but still small, is at the bottom, really suffering, really dying. The vast majority of us, we're right here somewhere. But the point is, all this shit is going on, and you have these two political parties, typically the Democrats and the Republicans, and there will be a Republican video, trust me. There's gonna be parts to this, trust me. Who they ain't doing shit. They're just keeping up the show. They're keeping up the show. And now with media expanding into social media, they really are keeping up the show. You know, because everyone's freaking out about this and that. But you completely forget that these political parties ain't doing shit for you. Completely forget that you've been voting for these people for centuries, decades. You've been voting for them for decades, year after year, term after term, election after election. They're all promising you this, that, and the other. They're promising you shit that they know they have no intentions of fulfilling. Or even if they wanted to fulfill them, they can't do it. Maybe they don't want to do it. Maybe they tried, but it didn't work. I tell people all this shit when you know there's a possibility that it ain't gonna happen, or it's gonna take time to happen. And why not just keep it real with folks? Well, that's the same way with the Democrats. Why not just keep it real? Like, you cannot give handouts to everybody all the time. You cannot carry everybody all the time. Sometimes you have to let people suffer. Sometimes people have to go hungry. And sometimes people have to go without. Doesn't mean it should last the whole time or forever, but it means that you go through trials and tribulations to get to where you want to get to. You're constantly giving people stuff. You're never showing them how to do it. Never showing them how to be responsible, accountable. You never show them how to self-sustain or be sustaining. And they're never going to learn how to fend for themselves. Back to that biblical scripture that everyone always talks about, and I'm probably going to say it wrong. But give a man a fish, he eats for a day. Teach a man a fish, he eats for a lifetime. And I really believe in that. I get the gist behind it, because it's like, if I'm always doing it for you or just giving it to you, how are you going to be able to do it? So, what happens when I'm no longer here? What are you going to do? You're going to suffer. You're going to die. You're not going to be successful because you never learned how to do it yourself. You never learned how to be responsible and accountable and sustaining. That's the problem with the Democrats. You can't just keep giving people shit and then not teaching them anything or thinking that this is going to last forever. A lot of stuff people need to think about, you know? I don't know, I just think people need to really seriously sit down and think. Everything ain't about Republican, Democrat all the time. Everything ain't about what can be seen to the eye. Just that you're literally on the surface. You don't see the damn iceberg. It's the problem. We sit up here and we get caught up in these political parties and these political discussions and ideologies and beliefs that we forget the basics. Again, you're literally very surface with it. You don't see the damn iceberg. You don't see all of this. You don't see it because you're here. But let's get back to the Democrats, the Democants, the Demolies. You know, they're all here to, in my opinion, to deceive you and have you thinking all this, and then it's really not even, oh my God, or it could be even more, or, you know, you never know. Psych perspectives. Again, you never, and that's another thing, another opinion of mine. Life is about chances, right? Because really, with psych perspectives and looking at as many perspectives and sides, at the end of the day, you will never truly know. Not supposed to. Sometimes you can have a gut feeling that this might work or this might not work, but you just go and you just do it eventually, because you can't just sit and be stagnant, which is another problem with the Democrats. You know, essentially, they want people to be comfortable, and both parties, the Democrats and Republicans, essentially they want you to be comfortable where you're at. They want to appease you enough, keep you stagnant, so you're not really paying attention to other shit, not really ever truly fully reaching your potential. We need poor people to be okay with being poor. Hey, free dental here and there, Medicaid. We also need people who are like, they're poor, but they're working class, So they're still able to buy some stuff, but not everything. Like the middle class, right? So you got the working poor, working class, lower class, and then you've got, you know, upper middle class, middle class. Keep it simple. You've got the lower class, the middle class, and the upper class. And they got to do something to appease all three to keep you content where you're at. Even though sometimes you can see like, damn, I can have so much more of this, that, and the other. But are you see it, but are you going to do anything about it? That's the question. For the time, you're not going to do anything about it.